coming up is our yoga retreat to the Himalayan Institute. You've been hearing us talking about it for a while. It was in September. We moved it to December. One more change. Realize there's a conflict in my schedule. Debbie Dower is going to be the leader of that retreat. So if you're on the fence and you love Debbie's classes on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, Debbie's one of the first 2 teachers I ever had when I got started 20 years ago, and she's gone on to just like learn so much and be such an incredible leader in herself. It will be an incredible workshop. All the parts are the same. Debbie's just teaching the yoga classes and the last workshop. So I'm happy to answer questions about that after the class if you've got questions. Other than that, we're ready to get started in child's pose. If you in studio here do not have an assisting card, I'll be bringing those around. I'll sit it down with the no face up. You can change it to yes at any point or back to no. It's up to you. It just refers to whether you'd like, hands-on help with your practice. Here you go. Now that you're here in your child's pose, let's start with the breathing as we always do, because really what we're up to here is a breathing exercise. Begin with taking a deep breath in and opening up your mouth and having a sigh. Hi, Jen. Glad you could join us. Build your slow, steady, deep, rhythmic breath. Ensure that this is a pose, this and every pose to come, that feels good in your body. With your next inhale, bring your body up into downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, shape of an upside down letter V. Start to bend and straighten your knees to stretch out your toes, the arches of your feet, your calf muscles, the backs of your knees. And keep your breath flowing while you move. Then inhale and tippy toe, and as you exhale, drop your heels to the left. Really press your right hand into the mat as your heels drop to the left. Then inhale, tippy toe, heels up high in the center, and drop them to the right. Breathe and let the whole side space of your body stretch. Inhale, come back to the center, and exhale, press your heels down towards your mat. Take another breath. With your exhale, look forward and walk up to the front of your mat. Once you arrive, lift up halfway, whole spine long, and as you exhale, hang down. Now open your feet up so they're good, solid foundation, at least hip-width distance. Then you can fold your arms, hold your opposite elbow, and sway from side to side. As you're swaying, let your body hang down heavier and heavier toward the ground. Shake your head out, let it be heavy. Then press your feet down into the ground, come rolling up to standing until you can unwind, reach your arms overhead, lift up, look up, and bring your hands to rest in prayer position and just pause. Set your gaze on one still point in the room. And set an intention, something that you want to be up to while you're working in your practice today, whether or not the poses change from the poses that you know. Intention will make it unique into this moment. 3 times we'll chant together. Take a deep breath in. Inhale and reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Inhale, lift halfway. High plank to low plank as you breathe and empty, steady breath out. Now inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths as you're breathing. Imagine that your inner ankle is moving back. Take 1 more breath in. As you exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or move up to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, forward fold. Press your feet down, stand up, lift and reach, fold to the floor. Inhale, lift halfway, Low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe. Now, while you're breathing, presence the intention that you set for the practice today. Use it as a North Star around which to shape how you create this in every pose. One more breath in. Breath out, bend your knees, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold, feet into the ground, stand up, look up and reach, fold to the floor with your exhale. Inhale halfway, low plank, exhale. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breathe here. Now, sometimes I like to work with my intention as I practice in this way. Maybe I set an intention, for example, of being present. And as I approach many of the poses, I like to frame in my mind, what if right now I were present? How would it be? One more breath in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose next. Sit back, reach your arms up, stay right here and breathe. You can take your gaze down your knees into your toes and see that your knees stack right on top of your middle toe. Then reach your hips way back. As you feel your knees and feet sinking down, maybe have a look at your feet and open your heels so your feet look like hands on a clock facing to 12 o'clock. One more breath in and reach up. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Halfway lift, low plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. With an inhale, reach up and look. Then hands to the floor, low push up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side, step forward, lunge. Inhale, reach. Hands to the floor, low push up. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Anytime you need to, open up your mouth, sigh, and just clear your space. Now presence your intention once again. One more breath. Bend your knees, look forward, jump to your hands. Halfway lift, fold down. Now chair pose, sit back, arms up, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, low plank as you exhale. Up dog. Downward facing dog, right foot, step forward, lunge, lift up, hands to the floor, low push up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step, deep lunge, lift and stretch, hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Deep breath in, full breath out. Two more, inhale, exhale. Here's the last, deep breath in, bend your knees on the exhale and jump. Halfway lifts, forward fold, chair pose, reach, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, move to the low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward, lunge, lift, look, hands down, chaturanga, and empty. Up dog, down dog, left side step, lunge and lift, hands down, chaturanga, empty your breath. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Breathe in and open up your mouth and sigh. Two more. We'll take one more round of sun salutation B. Last breath here. Bend your knees, jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, deepest seat, reach, fold to the floor. Half lift, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward, lunge, look up, reach up, hands down, low push up. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left side step, deep lunge, reach, hands down, low push up. Up dog, downward facing dog. Now raise your right leg up into the air behind you. As you exhale, bring your knee in and touch it to your nose. Hover shoulders over your wrists. Then reach up and back, knee in and touch it to the same side elbow or armpit. Right forward, touch it to your armpit if you can. Then up and back. Knee in and bring it across your body to your other side elbow. Touch it there. Now take your leg up and back and bend your knee, heel to your hip, and open up your hip. Flip the pose over, 2 feet to the floor. Flip dog, 2 feet to the floor, stretch up and overhead and breathe. Now listen for a moment. When we move, we're going to move all the way through to a side plank where our right leg is going to stay bent in near our chest. So here's how this goes. In your flip dog, start to flip back to the 3-legged downward dog. Keep your right leg bent. Bring it through your body to the opposite side arm. Keep spinning and reach to the ceiling so you're in the side plank with your knee into your chest. You got it. Now, if you can, with your knee into your chest, reach your leg straight forward, perpendicular to your body, and then tap it to the floor 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and through to chaturanga. Little extra core strength. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Now raise your left leg into the air. As you exhale, bring your knee in and touch it to your nose. Your whole weight will rock forward. Then take your leg up and back and bring your knee into the same side armpit if you can. Take your leg up and back. Now bring your knee in across your body to the opposite side armpit. Take your leg up and back, bend your knee and flip the pose. Keep your breath flowing as you transition from one pose to the next. While you're here, give yourself access to total freedom, total body expression. Reach as far as your body will reach, and then breathe into the space. Now get ready. Flip into the 3-legged downward dog with the left leg bent, and bring your left leg through to your right armpit and all the way around. Side plank with your bottom knee bent into your chest. Now, if you can, stretch your legs straight. Maybe it'll rest on the ground, or you can tap it 3 times. After the last time, through to downward facing dog to chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Deep breath in and a sigh. Step your right leg forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead. Really reach up. Then bring your hands into prayer position and twist. Bring your left elbow to your right knee. Keep your breath flowing every time you inhale from your heel, the left one at the back of your mat, pressing back to the crown of your head at the front of your mat. You stretch long, and then on the exhales, you twist. 3 like that. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale and twist. 2 more long and twist. Listen to this. Last one. Stay here as you twist. Then with a strong back leg, just step forward into reverse half moon. Kind of the same thing as the crescent lunge, but now it's forward instead of back. So right foot on the floor, left hand on the floor. That's it. Lift your lifted leg high into the air. Turn your chest more toward the right. In this pose, I concentrate on making my body as long as possible. Now, smooth transition, tilt into the crescent lunge. Right into it. You'll want to set your gaze as soon as possible to maintain your balance. I also use my arms as like balance bars. Open up to warrior 2. If your breath feels a little short, take a sigh and reintegrate your breathing. I like some of that checking it out, flipping your palms up, getting the length from fingertip through chest to fingertip. You can flip your front palm up and reverse the warrior, so back hand to your back thigh, so you get so much stretch in your side body. Even straighten your front leg and make it a reverse triangle. Then warrior 2 to extended side angle. Reach for the floor and reach for the ceiling. Steady breathing. Let's give our shoulders a little bit more opening here. With your arm that's reaching in the air, reach it to the space behind you. And then like you're dragging your knuckles across the floor, make a circle. Bend your elbow and open up your chest as wide as you can. So take 3 of those circles, 3 big circles, 2 more of them. And on your last one with your shoulders so nicely open, take your hand around behind your back, half binding this pose. You can reach under your leg and hold hands behind your right hip. Deep knee bend and lift your chest up to the ceiling, a full bind of the pose. 2 more breaths here. Let your front hip sink and your chest lift up. Last one. Then unwind, bring your hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead to reach up. Then hands into prayer position and twist right elbow to your left knee. Steady breathing. A lot of action from your back leg. Now you have a hint. You know we'll be tilting forward at some point. You'll need your back leg as the balance bar for this movement. But first, the twisting. So inhale, stretch your whole body long. Exhale and twist. 2 more. Body long and twist. Here's the last one. Twist. Step forward to the reverse half moon. So you'll step onto your left leg, right fingertips to the ground, reach to the left. You got it. Reach toward the left. Your standing foot, you'll want to press that down into the ground so the pit of your belly lifts and you get a little lighter on your standing leg. Steady breathing. Tilt into your crescent lunge. So tilt back, set your gaze, stretch your arms while you're moving. Open to warrior 2. Get down low in your legs. Put some weight into your back leg. We tend to default into the front leg, so bring some weight into your back leg. Then flip your front palm up, reverse the warrior. Get this whole side of your body opening. Wrist straighten your front leg, make it a reverse triangle. Warrior 2. Extended side angle. Reach for the floor, reach for the ceiling. Deep, deep lunge. So we'll take the windmills of the arm on this side. You'll reach to the back of your mat space, drag your knuckles across the ground, then lead with your elbow as you open up your upper body. Take 3 more of those all the way around. Open your shoulder, reach back. 2 more. When you finish the last one, take your arm around behind your back, halfway binding the pose. You might reach under your front leg, hold hands, and your hands will be behind your left hip. Once your hands are on your hip, let your hands press into your hip while your arm opens your knee a little more. You got it there. So your thigh bone rotates open. Now 3 breaths. Chest up to the ceiling as you twist. 2 more. Last one. Hands to the floor. Chaturanga. Good work. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Your down dog. Just 1 breath, a big breath with an exhale, and jump up to your hands. Halfway lift, forward fold. Now, walk your feet close together. I know a lot of times we set this chair pose up with them wide. We're going to take this one a little differently, so feet together. Then squat down so your heels come off of the ground, and you're just kind of hovering above your heels, knees kind of toward the ceiling. Now, there may be various stages of this that some of you take. We're looking to put the left elbow outside of the right knee. You might want to keep your right hand on the ground, helping you to balance. You may even be able to put your hands in prayer position in this squatting twist. If you feel pretty comfortable with this and you want a next stage of the pose, get your knee near to your armpit. So your right knee near to your left armpit. Hands like they're against the wall beside you. Bring them to the ground. And then you'll just tilt and lean on one of the hands. A more intermediate step is an elbow on a hip and an elbow on the knees. So this is side crow pose. We typically get to crow pose here. Now we're taking side. You can take all these variations and you'll feel the deep twist that comes from the variations, or this final step, side crow. From the side crow, you can take 1 more step, which will look like side scissors, bottom leg forward, top leg back. Pick the variation for you. So try the balancing, an elbow on your hip, an elbow on your knee. We don't always offer this, and yet a lot of you are capable of it, and you'll feel the nice deep, deep twist in your side. Give it a try. There you go, Madison. You got it. Chest forward, chest forward, chest forward. That's where you'll get the balance. Okay, wherever you are, feet on the floor, forward fold, open your feet up and hang. Sometimes you're looking for some new variations to add into the same flow that we do. That would be a variation that you add in when you're looking for really deep rotation. It's an interesting stretch of the side body too, and it just gives you something new. So hook your big toes and stretch down right now. Feet can be hip width distance, yeah. And shake out your head and your shoulders. Okay, we have a second side to try this on, so walk your feet back together and squat down. An elbow outside of your knees. So you might be just in this position. Maybe your hands are on blocks. Maybe you have your hands in prayer position. You're experiencing the deep twist right here. Could be hands on the ground, hip even on your back elbow, or you can maybe just balance on your knees, in the side of your thighs. So side crow or some variation of working your way toward it. Could be just in the twist. That works, Brian. Hand on your hip, maybe your left hand, and just keep giving yourself the deep twist. Those of you that make it into the balance of the side crow pose, side scissors is the bottom leg forward and the top leg back. Wherever you are, just take another breath and then bring your feet to the floor, and for everyone, forward fold. Gorilla pose, you can tuck your hands under your feet from the front. Just stand on your palms and shake your head out. Sometimes I like to shift all of my weight over onto one side of this forward fold. Just put some extra pressure maybe on the right side for a breath or two. And then take it over to the left side and hold it at the left side for a breath or two. Now we got to do those two side crows. Let's do crow pose. You might start in a goddess squat, elbows to your knees, pressing out on your knees while your knees press in. Maybe really crouch down where your knee is really near to your armpits. Wide set hands, tilt into your fingertips. You might hold it right here with your feet still on the ground. Or pick up a foot. You may pick up both feet in this wide set crow pose. You'll get a little more access to the core strength in the wide set. In a moment, we're moving to the chaturanga. Don't think of it so much as a thrust your feet back belly flop. Try to stay curled in the crow pose and take one leg back into the chaturanga. So from the crow pose, crawling one leg back into the chaturanga and then the second leg. Alrighty, or belly flops. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. In your down dog, let's get some rest. Take a deep breath in and a sigh. One more time, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, jump up to your hands. Half lift and fold. Come all the way up, standing arms overhead, right side eagle pose. Wrap your arm under your left, squat, right leg over your left leg, tuck your toes behind your calf muscle. And sit down deep. Bring your steady breathing. Steady breathing. Step out, arms overhead, left side now. Left arm under, squat, left leg over. Steady breathing here. Okay, step out, stretch your arms overhead. Now check out your left foot, stand with it heel behind your middle toe. So if you're on a line, you can see your foot lined up that way, different from your foot toes turning out. And hug your right knee into your chest until you can stand tall, as though you feel like your whole back body is against a wall rather than leaning backwards. Then inhale. As you exhale, hands like they're in your back pocket, press your right heel forward. So straighten your right knee. Keep feeling like this thigh bone is pulling into the back pocket. Feel it with your right palm. Inhale, bend your knee. Exhale, press your heel forward. Stay standing tall. Do that 3 more times. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press forward. Feel your thigh bone in your back pocket. 1 more time. Press forward. Keep it forward. Sweep your arms overhead, legs straight. Breathe here. You see if you can lift your leg up just another inch and still stay standing tall. Remember, imagine you're pulling this thigh bone into the back pocket. Stay here and breathe. Last breath. Hug your knee into your chest. Airplane pose. Reach back. A little bit of freedom, a little bit of release from the work you just did. Your leg that's in the air, A lot of times we can kind of forget about that one. So put some extra attention on your foot. And instead of your hip opening so your foot turns to the side, close your hip so your toes point to the floor. Then hands to prayer position. Now you open the upper leg. Foot is parallel to the floor, half moon. Left arm to the ground, right arm to the ceiling, and bring some breathing. Steady breathing. Little softness for your standing knees. A little softness. Yes. If you can, bend your top knee. If you can, reach back with your top hand and catch that ankle. Some of you will catch it, some of you won't. If you caught it, kick it into your hand. Sugarcane pose. One more breath. Forward fold and hang. I think some of you got to a place you might not have been before. Come all the way up to standing and hug your left knee into your chest. You know all the setup drill now. Hug your knee. Hands into your back pockets like you're really shoving them down into your pockets. Breathe in and bend your knee. Exhale, extend it. Push your heel forward. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend. Good. Inhale, bend. A lot of good form in the room. Exhale, extend. One more. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend. You're doing a good job using your breath here. Sweep your arms overhead. Keep on breathing. Let your foot float up a little bit higher. And then just imagine it's just hugging into something with the inner ankle. Hug. One more breath. Hug your knee into your chest. Airplane pose. An upward facing dog quality of your chest. You got it. So you can let your hands float out wide and your chest lift up. Lifted foot, active. Hands in prayer position, half moon. Right hand to the ground, left arm to the ceiling. Now from your center all the way to the periphery of your fingertips and toes, stretch out. Bend your top knee. Reach with your top hand for your top ankle. If you catch it, kick into your hand. Let your whole body stretch. Oh, Susan, you're right there. Whole body stretch. Open up, forward fold and hang. Give yourself a sway from side to side. Then come on up to standing. We'll take standing bow. So right arm bone back. Roll your forearm open so your palm faces out. You feel like your shoulders moving back rather than getting stuck forward. Hold your ankle from the inside. Knees together at first, and then drive your knee straight back. Kick right back into your right hand. Counterbalance that with an equal and opposite reach forward of your left hand. So your arms right through your shoulders are being pulled apart. Once you get the pull apart, maximum pull apart, then kick down into the floor and kick your hands up into the ceiling. That's it. Keep working with it. Take yourself to your deepest point in the pose and breathe here for 5 breaths. 4 breaths. 3 more. 2 and 1. Step out. Shake it out. Catch your breath. We'll do the second side. Left arm bone back and open your forearm. Hold your ankle from the inside. Start with your knees together if you can. Kick straight back into your hand. Straight back. Little softness to your standing knee. And kick straight back so your arms are pulled apart. Nice. Once you get the straight back, press down with your standing foot into the ground and up with your kicking foot into the ceiling, as though you can feel the ceiling with your foot and you're just kicking into it with your big toe. You got it. Into the floor, into the ceiling. Keep working with it. Get to your deepest pose. Stay with this. We're not going anywhere. Now you have 5 breaths. Stay with this. Keep the equal and opposite action going. Keep breathing. 2 more. Last one. And step out. Hands on your hips or in prayer position. Presence your intention. Now, you may not remember it, and if you don't, no need to go backwards. If you don't remember it, create one from right here. I am, and fill in the blank. And then ask yourself, what if I am whatever you filled in the blank with? What if I am present? What if I'm authentic? What if I am strong? What if I can do this? Tree pose next. Bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. Use the back of your right palm against the crease of your right knee, and those 2 points can press together, and then your left arm can reach to the ceiling. Now look for this while you're holding the pose. While you're making this contact, right hand, right knee, and then left foot into the ground, left fingers into the ceiling. Use all the stretch and the press that you can bring to the pose to see if you can get a sense of what the center of it is, the place where it sort of locks into balance. See if you can become aware of that. And then switch sides, right foot down, left foot up. Looking to have access to where your center is, where balance comes from. Back of the left palm and the inside of the left knee, right arm in the air. Yep. Pressing with your palm to your inner knee, reaching with your reaching arm. Yeah, play with your balance. Instead of just the place where you know you can hold on by locking everything out. Now that you're in it, maybe with a sigh, bring some new measure of ease, a softening of the joints. See if you still have connection to your balance, connection to your intention, and then step out of it. Come to the front of your mat. At the front, inhale and sweep your arms overhead. Fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift up halfway, high plank to low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Good. Step your right foot forward to triangle pose. Back foot flat. So a long stride, 2 straight legs, right hand on the block or floor. You're just looking to create that the right side stays long as the left side of your body is. Keep on breathing here. Then check out your joints, your toes, your ankles, your knees. Bring some ease into those parts of your body. We divide up our sequence by elements like earth, water, fire, air, create space being the 5th. And right now you're bringing water into your joints, a softening, to see if it gives you access to something new and deeper in the pose, a new level of being free and stable at the same time. One more breath. Come on up to standing, face the long left side of your mat and forward fold. Once you get all the way down here into the fold, let's start by taking your fingertips forward and getting first the stretch that we oftentimes will do. Fingertips on the ground, anchor them, and then sink the weight back into your heels. Now, at first, you may feel stretching in your bottom ribs. Take a few breaths here to feel that stretch start to soften and in your armpits start to soften. Then leave your left fingertips exactly where they are. Bend your left knee so your heel comes off of the ground a little bit. With your right hand, reach under your left armpit to your left ankle. You might not reach to your ankle totally. You might have to grab your calf. That's fine. Try to get to your ankle or your heel. Now balance even weight between your 2 feet. Breathe in. And as you exhale, stamp your left heel down and it will drag your body into a rotation. Yeah. Keep the weight even between your 2 feet. So we don't want to start to shift all the weight into 1 foot. Ideally, from the bird's eye view, your pelvis is staying settled between your 2 feet evenly. So bring some weight back into this leg. Keep bringing it over here. Yep. Are you feeling the twist more? Good. So Madison and everybody, more weight in your right leg, more tension there. And then unwind. So now 2 fingers stretched forward, sink your heels back toward your hips back toward your heels again. Get the middle and the balanced center. Then keep your right fingertips on the ground and lift your right heel. Your left hand can go over to your right heel underneath your right armpit. You're going to have to reach a little bit to get your ankle and settle back into the center. Then breathe in and exhale, step your right heel down and let that drag you into the rotation. Now this time your attention is in keeping weight in your left foot. You feel all that rotation in your long left side back body. Unwind, come to the center and up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Hands to your hips, standing single leg forward fold, feet have width. You're not on a tightrope, so keep your feet like they're in skis. Lift your chest up and forward fold. You want to have enough length that you can really start at about the halfway point to feel the whole back side of your front leg stretching. Have to breathe into this halfway space, feel how it feels. Then maybe rest your hands on blocks or see if you can keep coming down toward the floor, breathing and working with it. You may even be able to curl up and bring your forehead toward your knee and reach behind you in a pose called elephant pose. It's just a variation on the standing single leg forward fold. Keep some weight in your front foot. Keep some weight in your front foot. Many of you actually, weight in your front foot. Ruby, weight in your front foot too. There. It's a tricky pose to figure out where the center of it is. Now you've got your legs. Left hand stays on the ground under your left shoulder. Twisting triangle. Keep the weight in your feet. So don't start to fling your right hip to your right side. Keep it reaching behind you. Yes, a little softness to your front knee. You got it. Now imagine somebody's got hold of your hips. They're pulling them back, and you have to resist and pull your chest forward like a tug of war. You don't want the hip pulling to win. Keep bringing stretch in your left back as you play this tug of war. There you go. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, twist. 2 more. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, twist. 1 more, stretch long and twist. Press your big toe down, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Switch sides, left foot forward, triangle pose. Keep your breath flowing and build the left side of the triangle pose. Left hand on the block or floor behind your left ankle. Little softness to your front knee as you bring pressure into your front foot's big toe. Good, long body. The front of your pelvis, lift it up toward your chin by pulling the pit of your belly in toward your spine and then up toward your chin. You feel the difference, Ryan? Good. Couple more breaths. 1 more. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat. Let's start with your arms behind your back. Interlace your hands and roll your shoulders back, or use a strap to cover the bind between your hands and fold forward. All the way down and spill your hands overhead. Now keep your breath flowing. Feel how it is for you when you first get into this pose. Now this could be an interesting pose to presence the intention. One of the intentions I've continued to offer up is, what if I was present right now? What if I were present? So what if, I don't know if your mind might be getting pulled off into some other areas. Mine can daydream pretty easily without my even noticing something happened. What if you were present right now? What would you experience right now? What would you be feeling and noticing about your own body in this pose? What if this pose were the most interesting thing in the world at this moment? What would be there for you? What would be available from your attention being on the pose as a possibility? 1 more breath. Come on up to standing, face the front of your mat. Hands on your hips. Lift your chest up high. Start forward folding. This is an exploration of weight even in 2 feet and even in the 2 sides of your pelvis. Go ahead and fold. Go longer. And your back foot, that can be at any angle. It doesn't have to face straight forward. Sometimes there's a misconception. It has to point forward. It can be at any angle up to parallel to the short sides of your mat. Weight forward, Ruby. It's more in your back leg. Keep coming. Coming. There. You can put your fingertips to the block. You can keep your hands on your hips. Up to you where it goes. And breathe, but invite that there's a lot of stretch in the back of your left leg. Now twisting triangle. Right hand on the ground. Left arm reaching out to the side. Turn toward the left. You imagine that the hands are on your hips, hugging them in from the sides and drawing your hips to the back of your mat. A tug of war where you stretch your chest to the front of your mat. So the 2 sides of your body are as long as they can be, and then explore the rotation. 1 more breath in. 1 more exhale and twist. Hands to the floor for downward facing dog. Stretch back. Then come to a high plank and lower to your belly on the mat. We'll take one set of locust pose. Keep your toes turned under the way they were in the push-up that brought you to your belly and activate your legs. Then reach your arms behind like airplane wings. Stretch your chest forward and lift up. Heels back, tailbone back, hands back. Toes turned under to set the foundation of your pose. Then you just stretch long and lift. As high as your body will lift without having any pinching sensation anywhere. And then you breathe 5 breaths. Steady and easy. 4, 3 breaths, 2 breaths, and 1. Come down and shake your hips from side to side. One set of floor bow. Bend your knees, reach back, and hold your ankles. I'll tell you at about the halfway point if you prefer to do this pose one side at a time. So kick your feet or foot back into your hand so that your arm's just hanging off of your foot. And then your leg strength drives your feet up to the ceiling. Knees only hip width distance. If you're switching sides, switch sides. If you're in just the 2 sides kicking, stay with it. And imagine your knees are hugging in, the inner side of your knees, hugging into something at your center line. 1 more breath and come back down. Shake your hips from side to side, hands to the floor beside your bottom ribs. Upward facing dog with soft elbows. You just move your arm bones to the back of your body and your chest through your arm bones to the front of your mat space. Another breath. Downward facing dog. We'll take 1 camel pose. Bring your knees on the ground. I've been loving this variation lately on camel for strength, less for flexibility. If you've got a block, hold on to your block. I can pass a couple of extra out. And if you don't have a block, not to worry, you'll still be able to participate in this. But pick your block up and hug your block between your forearms or your palms. No fingers wrapping around and gripping. So something like this, or even hugging with your forearms. Then in your camel pose, toes turned under, stand up tall. So no butt back, belly hanging forward, whole body as tall as it can be. Hug with your arms to this block. Then breathe in as far back as you can with a straight body, and then exhale, come up. That's it. Again, you go back, keep looking at the block, squeezing it, exhale, come up. Try that 3 more times. That's it. Try not to break the straight line, and you're all doing a really nice job of it. 2 more. Hugging into your center line. If you had an extra block, you could be hugging it between your knees. You've got 1 more. And come on up. Good. Set your block to the side. Stretch back into downward facing dog. Once you've gotten a stretch, move through your hands, sit down and roll onto your back, and we'll move on to bridge poses. Once you're on your back, feet on the floor, set hip width distance, press your feet into the mat, lift your hips up in the air. Our yoga practice, no matter how much it just seems like physical exercise, when we put our attention on body part by body part, use an intention to help us shape and create how we act with it, we gradually, pose by pose and breath by breath, create this access point to coming inward, getting inside of ourselves, feeling what there is to feel, feeling about what's happening and how it's impacting us. So right now, put your attention on your feet. While you're holding the pose, just let there be a sense of your feet sinking down into the ground, and put all of your awareness there. Once you have this sense of your feet sinking down into the ground, also create that from your arches up into your knees, there's a hugging in. That's it, Brian. Feet sink and hug inward. Another breath. Come on down out of this pose and move your knees from side to side. Next one, press down and come up into your bridge and automatically get your feet set, just the way we've practiced in the first round. Automatically. Rock from shoulder to shoulder and really tuck your shoulders under your body. Lately, I've been loving this. Keep your feet exactly where they are. Bring your right knee into your chest, all the way in as far as it goes, and hold it right there. Imagine that at both inner knees, there's a little bit of outward pressure that you're hugging into. Hug into it until you feel the lock into your center line. It kind of gets weirdly easy and harder. Put your foot on the floor, switch sides. Yeah, so without moving the base foot to the center, it stays out there on the side. And then you just do this hugging in. Yes, at your arch, at your knee. Bring your foot on the floor. Come out of the pose, knees side to side. We're progressing into the wheel pose, or you're repeating taking bridge poses. Set the first one up from the bridge. Come up into bridge. Fingers to the ceiling. Flex your wrists. Tuck them wide and deep under your shoulders. Press down with your hands and feet and rise up. All the way up if you can, or take the bridge once again. Get a sense of how it is. See if you can tap into both your hands and your feet sinking down and hugging into the center line, and then come back down. Knees side to side. We're taking 2 more of these. Set up the next one. All the way up into your wheel pose from the bridge. Let your feet and hands have a sense of sinking into the ground. Then hug your right knee into your chest. The whole way in if you can. And put that foot on the floor. Hug your left knee into your chest. Remember that you have this sense of hugging into your center line. Foot on the floor. And for everyone, come on down. Knees side to side. Finding your center line of strength has this quality of locking you into being a true force. And for whatever reason, it seems like that can just pull all the senses inside the body. Last one, bridge or wheel, your choice. Whatever you have access to, though, take that. Bridge or wheel, maybe if you're in the wheel now, you're testing it in your hands. You could tap your right hand to your right thigh and bring it to the ground. Your left hand to your left thigh, return it to the ground. And then come on down for Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet together, knees open wide. Let yourself be completely present to the experience that you're having here in this pose. How your feelings feel, what your senses are sensing, how things seem to you. And then we'll take happy baby pose. So you can bring your knees into your chest and reach through and hold on to your feet, the outer edges. Draw your knees back to your shoulders. You can rock from side to side. Okay, hug your block. Let's grab your block. And we'll use the block this way for this exercise. We're going to keep the hug of the block between the hands. If you were not have a block to hug, a water bottle would work, or you could just make fists that press into each other. That would work too. We're using it to, again, help us find our center line. So start with your feet on the floor like bridge pose. Lift your hips up and move your hips all the way to your knees so you feel every bone of your spine on the floor, then shins parallel to the floor. Now you can curl up at your bottom rib and then press into the block. We want to keep every single bone, especially if your lower back, on the floor. See if you can tap your heels and bring them up. No arching in your lower back. You'll feel almost like your legs are weightless because your attention will be so intent on the pit of your belly. Take 10 of these without rocking. You can see how tempting it is. Check it when your heels are touching. Is your low pit of the belly on the ground? Is your bottom rib on the ground? Try to bring that down onto the ground. Finish your last times and knees into your chest. We'll do these split legs now. Right leg hovering, left leg to the ceiling, not rolling your legs out. So you want to imagine that there's something pressing against your inner thighs you're hugging into. Now, the angle of how lower you lower this has to do with whether you're able to keep your entire lower back on the ground. You could still press into the block, and then we're just pulsing up 10 times. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch your legs. Pulse 10 times here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees, rest your head for a second. Maybe curl up so ensure every single bone of your ribs down to your tailbone is on the mat. Legs up, curl up, press your block in. Now we're switching. Inhale, exhale, bring it up. Inhale, exhale, bring it up. Now the leg that lowers, just keep your attention on your lower back on that side. See if you can really keep that whole side of your lower back touching the ground. Take 5 more for each side, so count to 10. Yep, you got it. If you find you're starting to lose the form and your back's arching, don't lower your leg as low, or just breathe out the last ones with your legs up in the air. When you're finished, you can hug your knees into your chest. Now, do you guys find pressing into the block helps you a little bit more tap into your core strength? Good. All right, hug your knees and rock back and forth several times and through to downward facing dog. Through to the downward facing dog. Right side pigeon pose. Right leg forward for pigeon pose. Now, no need to force this pose. We're just looking to allow for the right side lower back and the muscles that rotate the thigh bone out, all those muscles to have a chance to stretch a little bit. What we want to have happen is that the two sides of your pelvis from the bird's eye view are level, meaning that there's a quality of collecting and stabilizing rather than sort of melting in the pose. Sometimes I think we're maybe not sure what would be the approach that we want, and we do want to tap into and check into what's available in our body, and maybe that requires a degree of melt, but the sustaining of the pose is a collecting. You can switch sides. Yoga had a lot of the past couple of decades where it was exploiting and looking for more and more and more flexibility. We want mobility, but support with it. So maybe not all the way to flexibility. Yeah, we want the initial layer of too much stiffness off the body so that we have a range of motion. But we don't actually want to make the body loose. Sit onto your left hip, swing your leg around, your right leg around. We'll take the seated single leg extensions. So right leg long, left leg bend. We usually take the extension where we just fold forward onto the leg, but let's take a different variation. This will stretch a different part of your body. So palm face up, thumb toward your big toe, and hook your thumb around your big toe. Your elbow can rest on a block. Now you can have your knee as bent as you need to have it. You may find that you just need to reach palm facing down, that's fine. Or you could lasso your toe with a strap. Then with your left hand, press into your left thigh, press it away from you, and keep lifting your chest toward the ceiling. You could stay like this, or for some of you, you're ready for a little bit more. And instead of anything that would have your body kind of cave forward, keep it opening, chest to the ceiling, and you can bring your left arm in a cactus arm behind your shoulder. So not forward, not caving forward. And if that's still working for you, you can keep it behind your arm bone or behind your ear and reach overhead, left hand towards your toes. Some of you will feel super flexible. You could hold on to your big toe with both hands. That would be very flexible. That's it, Brian. Good. A lot of good form in the room. Can't see you at home, but I'm going to assume it's going well there. Okay, come on up and switch sides. So that's a variation you can tap into whenever we're in the seated single leg extensions. There are many variations of this pose. So palm up, thumb around your big toe. Sink your elbow down to the floor or a block. Instead of holding your knee, hold your thigh bone and press it away and look to the ceiling. Now breathe. Just breathe. Find your spot. Arm in the cactus. So right arm in the cactus, behind the plane of the torso, different from in front of it. More behind, you'll feel it kind of keeps your side body long. When we get the side body like this, we're able to get some stretching into a really deep and significant muscle that holds our legs onto our torso. It holds the top of the leg bone and then it holds into the lower back like a tension bridge, like the Golden Gate Bridge, opening up into multiple vertebrae. Okay, come on up, 2 legs in front of you, forward fold. There's something about taking a yoga class that no matter how you came into the class, by the end of it, it seems like it just sorts everything out, makes the questions of the day more clear, maybe makes them a little less, urgent. I think that's part of what gives some clarity. On the days where you least feel like practicing, I've always found, whether teaching or practicing, those were the best days to be in the yoga room. The days that I really needed the results the most. Come on up out of this, roll onto your flat back. In the studio, you've already got your cold eye towels. On your flat back, legs straight up into the air for waterfall pose. We won't be here for very long. Get up into the pose and take 2 or 3 more good cleansing breaths in the pose. And then if you're in the shoulder stand, bring your feet to the plow and hug your knees beside your ears for the Death Yogi pose. So it's toes to the floor if they'll go there, and then hug your knees beside your temples or your ears. For everyone, come rolling onto your long flat back. Once you get on your flat back, knees into your chest, drop them to the left, look to the right, and take a breath. Switch sides. Shavasana. Stretch your body out long. While you're taking this deep rest, I'm going to read a reading for you from the book Journey to the Heart. In fact, I'm going to pick exactly the reading for today. This is a book written by Melody Beatty. She went on a year-long journey, and each day she wrote just a little meditation. Today's is called See How Much Easier Life Can Be. The old way said do, push, push, push. Only when the work was done could we allow ourselves time to rest. But when the work was finished, we often forgot to reward ourselves. The old way won't work anymore. We have learned too much, come too far. Our body won't let us. Our heart will object. Let the work be more fun. Don't push yourself so hard. Let your actions be effortless. An easy result of learning to focus and learning to trust your inner timing. Learn to let your actions spring naturally and easily from there. Let your inner voice and life guide you into breaks while you're working, while you're focusing on the task. Stop fearing it won't get done. Stop worrying if you're doing it well enough. Take breaks when you need to and really let go. Take time at the end of the task too. Take time to reward yourself, to feel pleasure in your accomplishment, to play at the end of the day. See how balance occurs naturally when we trust our heart. See how much easier life can be when we live it from the heart. Begin to deepen your breathing. Squeeze your fingers and your toes. You can hug your knees into your chest, then roll to your side and bring yourself up into a sitting position. Once you're sitting tall, inhale and sweep your arms overhead. As you exhale, bring your hands into prayer position at the center of your chest and pause for a second. Feel how it is for you right now. And set an intention for the rest of your night. Through your sleep and into the morning, let this intention shape how you relate to yourself and others. And then one more time, we'll chant together. Take a deep breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead. Take a moment here to pause and offer yourself a few words of gratitude. It's not often enough that we acknowledge ourselves for the work we do to be our best self each day. Then inhale and exhale. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Allison and Mark, for joining us from home, and Jen, who was here earlier. Thank you. And everybody here in the room. I know for me on a Wednesday, it always makes a big difference when I'm able to be here, so I am grateful to you for making it possible. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope to see you in class again this week. I'll be teaching tomorrow night in Harrisburg, here on Sunday morning. I may be practicing next to you, so I hope to see you again this week. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Yeah. Something tells me you're not the 6:30 a.m. group. But Ruby will be here.